The Gold King mine spill earlier this summer created ongoing challenges for farmers and ranchers along the Animas River. Now, while some have called for the EPA to be held accountable for the crew that initiated the spill in Colorado, others say it's time to look at outdated mining laws across the country. Senator Martin Heinrich has been visiting constituents and talking about the need to update mining regulations. Our producer Sarah Gustavus sat down recently with the senator to talk about the changes he would like to see in the future.
Senator Heinrich, thanks for sitting down with us today.
It's great to be here.
You've made several trips recently to the Navajo Nation following the Gold King mine spill. What are you hearing from tribal leaders and members right now?
There are a number of concerns that I'm hearing from people like the President and Vice President of the Navajo Nation, a lot of the council delegates out there. One is making sure that they're made whole in what was a incredibly challenging summer. Irrigation was turned off for a long time. The other is, what are we going to do to start fixing this stuff? So how are we going to clean up this enormous legacy of both uranium mines on the nation itself, and then a lot of hard rock mines upstream from the nation? So you have that whole area, the San Juans, that is really riddled with hard rock mines, a number of which are just as risky as the Gold King.
And these go back decades. There are thousands of abandoned mines across the western United States. What would it take to clean those up?
The biggest thing it takes is money, and there isn't any right now. Outside of the Superfund program, there is no sustainable way that we take the highest risk mines and begin to mitigate the issues that we saw with Gold King that have happened before on the Animas. There was a huge spill back in the 1970s. And it's my view that we need some fundamental hard rock mining reform. The law itself was written in 1872. It gives away the minerals, which belong to the American people, for no royalty whatsoever. And if you look at any other situation where something of value that belongs to all Americans is utilized for commerce, there's some sort of a royalty involved. In grazing leases, you pay a lease fee. In terms of oil and gas, there's a royalty. Coal fields, there's a royalty. But because this was passed at a time when we were in the middle of the gold rush, they literally just gave these hard rock minerals away, even when we're talking about enormous sums of money. I think it's time that we took a small percentage of that and put it back into a fund that cleans up the worst of these mines and prioritize, map out these watersheds, figure out exactly what are the mines that are the most likely to be a threat to human health and watersheds, and start cleaning them up.
What's a fair number for those royalties? We
are trying to figure that out right now, and there's a fair amount of disagreement on that, but I think we can get to a fair number. It's not my goal to punish the mining industry. My father worked in the mining industry, my grandfather worked in the mining industry, but we need to be able to clean up these abandoned mines. And this legacy, as you said, it's not just decades. Some of these mines have been there over 100 years now, and they are a severe threat when you're talking about heavy metals and acid leachate to the quality of our water. And today, in this century, there's nothing more important for our economic development than protecting our water and protecting our tourism revenues.
And since the Gold King mine spill first happened, we've heard some people come out and say the Environmental Protection Agency should be held accountable because the EPA crew are the ones who released this into the river. What's your response to that?
The EPA should be held accountable, and we are going to continue to push on the EPA to make sure that they make whole the community in southern Colorado, northern New Mexico, the Navajo Nation, eastern Arizona, who were severely impacted by this. But then we have to, in addition to that, pivot and say, how do we make sure that this is the last mine spill, not just another mine spill in a long series?
Any other reforms you'd like to see on mining?
We're looking at including some Good Samaritan mining reform as well. There are a lot of organizations that under the Clean Water Act can go in and clean up some of the less complicated mine sites. Under current law, they can end up being liable for those activities and for the mine itself, even though they didn't create the mess. And so reforming Good Samaritan laws to say that for approved projects, a Trout Unlimited or some other community organization can do some of that work would facilitate a lot of cleanup as well.
Would that be like a public-private partnership?
In many cases, it would be a public-private partnership.
Thank you so much, Senator.
Thank you.